It's happened again. Two amazing police officers gunned down in the line of duty. I am convinced that this anti-cop hate emanates from the left. They have been doing it for years. Black Lives Matter, the summer of George Floyd, they detest law enforcement. And it's coming through in so many ways. Now, these officers were responding to a 911 call. A few minutes later, the SWAT team showed up. But it was too late, too late. They had already been gunned down. Apparently, it was a fake 911 call. A disturbance, a domestic disturbance was reported, but it was phony. And the man, allegedly this guy, opened fire, known to be an enthusiast for drugs and alcohol in the neighborhood. So far this year, we are 5% over cop fatalities from last year, which was a record year for cop fatalities. Where is this coming from? I do believe that the rhetoric from the left has sparked so much of this stuff. Now, you've seen it, I've seen it. Black Lives Matter that summer, where law enforcement was demonized, delegitimized, and it was glorified by just about all aspects of our society. You could go right up to a cop and yell in his face, and it was considered a beautiful portrait in the New York Times, backed up by senior members of Congress. Who could forget Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, the rest of them kneeling, wearing something that they think is culturally appropriate, but it's not. And day in and day out, the drumbeat from the left on TV, the internet, everywhere you go, about how bad cops are.
Police are supposed to protect and serve, but it's clear that they are protecting the beneficiaries of inherent racist policies.
And of course, cities have to end the racist policing of black communities. That's where we all started.
They're not about one bad cop or one good guy with the gun, they're about systemic racism.
If you have the perspective where the cops have protected you your whole life, that's not how they treat everybody.
Racist sheriffs and police free to commit untold violence against anyone they please.
That's pretty hateful stuff. If you're a police officer, does that make you feel good about your line of work, your chosen profession? If you haven't chosen a profession, are you more or less likely to choose policing? And it wasn't just those nut jobs on MSNBC, and it wasn't just Democrats. Mitt Romney, of all people, joined the fray. Yeah, Mitt Romney, of course, walking in a Black Lives Matter protest post-George Floyd. Look, it wasn't just Mitt Romney. It was the National Football League.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. With inflation at its highest level in 40 years and interest rates skyrocketing, your retirement plans are in danger. Well, our friends at American Hartford Gold can help show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Yeah. If you call them right now, they have a special offer. They will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order. So don't wait. Call now. Here's the number. 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309 or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.
We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of black people.
Commissioner Goodell of the NFL makes about $30 million a year. Oh, I bet it felt so good to say that. That's what's called a virtue signal. But he's lying about America, that there is systemic oppression of black people in America. No, there isn't. But thanks to you, thanks to the mainstream media, thanks to Hollywood, thanks to the New York Times, all of it, you all lied about us. So many lies, and now it's taken hold, and we are screwed. Oh, the 1619 Project, that the Revolutionary War was fought over slavery. It wasn't. That's called junk science. We are so warped as a society now that if you say blue lives matter, support the police, you're accused of engaging in hate speech. Yes, how blue lives matter perpetuates police violence, huh? And on and on. No, you can't say that. You can't say blue lives matter. So many things you can't say because, everybody, remember, words are so important, right?
We've learned very clearly that words matter. Trump's words matter very much and have an impact on his followers.
His language has consequences, and we saw what those consequences can be.
Donald Trump's words have real consequences.
It is becoming obvious that President Trump's words matter.
Okay, what about the words on the left? What about your words? We'll hear them in a moment, but first, for the record, because January 6th, the hearings kind of wrapped up today, although they're promising a little bit more. What did he say on January 6th? The most important thing he said that they always admit?
That everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Nothing wrong with that. But back to the left. What about their words mattering? And all the horrible things they like to say about America.
Racism in America is endemic. It is foundational.
America has a long history of systemic racism.
Terrorism from white supremacy is the most lethal threat to the homeland today.
So this is poisonous and false. All of it. All of it. Keep saying it. What kind of impact will it have, say, on a drugged out guy in the woods who's drinking like crazy? Maybe it will trigger something. I keep hearing about people being triggered. Take a look.
I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say the word law enforcement, because if you say those words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters. And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Democrats that run these cities don't want to talk like you about law and order.
Violent
and you
crime,
still haven't mentioned.
Violent
Are you
crime.
in favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow it.
Are you in favor of law and order? Go
yes,
ahead.
I'm in favor.
You asked a question, let him finish.
Law and order. Law and order.
Let him answer.
Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly.
He didn't want to say law and order. And then he said law and order with justice. That's code for all these crazy reforms that are taking place. Like the one that let the Axeman here in New York, who went on a rampage, threatened people, trashed a McDonald's with his axe, let him out of jail within about 45 minutes to commit more crime and get sent back to jail for another 45 minutes, and now he's back on the street. That's the justice part, the social justice part. And that's what Joe was talking about. I actually don't think he has much respect for law enforcement.
Why is a police officer showing up to the suicide threat, someone trying to jump off a building? We need more social workers there.
More social workers there. Hey, Joe, what would social workers have done with the Axeman in a life and death situation? And if a guy is about to jump off a bridge, what do you think happens? They just show up, the cops, guns blazing? It doesn't work that way, Joe. So this toxic rhetoric, not only about law enforcement, but regular, ordinary people just living their lives, especially white women.
A confrontation caught on video, a white woman blocking a black tenant from entering their apartment building, demanding proof that he lives there.
Can you believe such a thing? A white woman saw a stranger in an apartment complex and dared to ask him if he lived there. Wow. You know, police are under enormous pressure, and all these crummy problems are being thrown at them. And now we scrutinize every single thing they do with these body cameras, right? And they're